Alrighty, just wanted to make a quick video on webtoons. I've been reading so many of them and it's hilarious because I see a common theme, and I'm just gonna go over the ones I've been reading. I've been reading a lot. Most of them are from Korea. Anyways, we got a couple genres. It's basically fighting and then isekai with video game elements. It might include fighting, it might not, but let's go over the basics. We got To Not Die. So this one is about a high school student who was being bullied, and then he's like, I ain't gonna take this crap no more, and he runs away, joins a gang of runaways, and then gets trained, and then he becomes a top fighter. It's pretty okay. I like the cast of characters. Next one is Weak Hero. This is basically a guy who's super weak. This dude, he looks weak on the outside, but he uses his brain to outsmart his opponents and then destroy them. So again, it's set in school. Is bullying a huge problem in Korea? Like, it makes it seem like everyone gets bullied all the time, and like that everyone's fighting in school instead of studying. Anyways, this one's pretty neat because you get to see him outsmart opponents, and there's also an enemy, this dude, Donald Na, who is super smart as well. They're very similar, and he's running an organization, like a gang almost, of high school students, and this one's pretty okay as well. We got Viral Hit. This guy, Taejun Park, it might seem familiar. This is from the creator of Lookism. And this is about a guy who also started a YouTube fighting channel to fight bullies to make money. And there's a bit of humor because he'll do everything he can to get money. He'll sell out. But then it goes down a super serious twist, a turn where they go from fighting bullies to fighting a... I don't want to spoil it a lot, but it gets huge, alright? It gets pretty big. That one's okay. They're all okay. We got Neon Revenge, so it goes from schools, and then there are some that kind of dive into more superhero-y kind of elements. So this guy, his sister got killed by a high school gang of delinquents, and he's out to kill them all. He's out for revenge. That's why it's called Neon Revenge. They kind of dress up as superheroes and go out. They put bounties on bullies, and then they go fight him and stuff like that. So that one's okay. Occasionally you get twists in the school bully formula, and this one is about a teacher who goes around and beats up the school bullies. Sometimes he helps them, you know, tries to reform them. Honestly reminded me of Great Teacher Onizuka, if you've seen that anime. This has the same vibe, and this is pretty funny. He's like a special forces dude who goes around just beating up everybody who's misbehaving. So they kind of twisted there. Instead of kids fighting each other, it's a teacher fighting the kids. Then we got the classic Lookism. This is pretty popular. This is about a guy who can switch bodies. One, he's just a short, chubby dude, and then he has like this super hot body that he can switch to whenever he falls unconscious. But that body is perfect for martial arts. And again, it's set in high school. This one's a little bit more fantastical. It's not about, you know, bullies in general. It's about gangs vying for control, and there's some mystery about why he can switch bodies at will. I believe this is coming to Netflix or Crunchyroll. The animated version is coming out soon. And then it's the fighting shifts to superheroes as well. I haven't seen a lot of these. It doesn't seem to be as popular. But Hero Killer is one where this girl can steal the abilities of the heroes she kills. And again, she's out for revenge to kill every single hero. And then it's kind of like The Boys. The heroes are in charge. They're part of an association, and they're not really good guys. So it's kind of interesting to see that sort of similar spin. And then we start getting into the gamification of fighting. So you got regular high school fighting, and then you got video game teams are super popular. They're everywhere. So this dude used to be a loser, and then he got a quest. All of a sudden, his world turns into a quest a video game, and he has to do these quests to get cards, which let him do certain abilities, which let him fight. There's like cards that let him sing, stuff like that. And so this is a very similar setting. There are high school bullies, and then there's high school gangs, and he's in the process of taking over the area in the name of getting more cards. Okay, so we finished the high school arc. There's a lot more. There's a lot of them. Now we go into the martial arts, and usually it's related to the Murim, and it's either set in the modern times or in the historical times. And you get to see a lot of they're everywhere. So the Breaker, Eternal Force is out. People have been complaining because this is the third entry into the series where there's a new character and people don't seem to like him. People are complaining they're focusing too much on this new guy. I personally don't have a problem with it because I love the Breaker. If y'all haven't read it, I will go out and read it right now. It's a short read, semi-short read, Breaker and then Breaker New Waves. And it ends on a cliffhanger for New Waves where I'm like, I need more. I remember finishing it and I was like, yo, this ain't fair. I need to know what happened. Anyways, now you know what's going to happen. It's an ongoing series if you want to read it. This is all martial arts. It's all about circulating ki through your body. Got that like almost like a mystical element to the martial art world. If you want to check that out. Now, what they do is they gamify the martial art genre. This is funny. I read this. This is pretty good. I read it on Scanlation sites because Webtoon isn't up to date with it. But we got Nano Machine, and this one involves time traveling. There was a guy who was heir to the Demon Clan. And he was gonna die, but then his descendant came back from the future, injected him with nanomachines, and then left. So then this dude is super powered now. He has nanomachines, and the interface to the nanomachine looks like a video game. And the one thing that stuck out to me about this series was it's brutally violent. This guy is out on a quest for revenge because his mother was killed by the other clans, so he hates all of them. There's like a whole arc about him becoming trying to become the Demon Lord, and it's pretty cool. It's all about sword arts and everything like that, but it gamifies it, so like he can train against, like he can scan people, copy their martial arts. He can read books and scan it, memorize all of it. He can like fight against AI holographic projections of people that he's scanned enough of. So it's kind of interesting to see the martial arts world take on like a video game theme. You see it everywhere. The gaming theme is so heavy. We got infinite leveling Murim, which is also very similar. So basically, this guy was a regular foot soldier. He dies, and then he comes back in time. And this is not really a spoiler because this happens in the first chapter. And then this is him reliving his life, except after he came back to life, everything is a game interface. So there are like some English words in there that he can't understand and he has to translate later. Like this guy lived in, the past where there are no video games, so it's a little bit confusing to him. And it's about him trying to fix the wrongs that he's seen, because he has knowledge of the future. So I think that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, I love martial arts though. I love shonen anime in general, just injected into my veins. Naruto, Bleach. I mean, I'm disappointed with the ending, but like, I freaking love generic shonen, okay? And then this one is not really related, but there's like a character theme that's prevalent. So Omniscient Reader is one of my favorite webtoons right now. It's about a guy who read a book, and then turns out the book came true. This is a very common theme, so this is the bulk of the webtoons that I've seen that are rising to the top in this action category. So basically, the common themes that you see, I'm going to go over all of them that I've read. A person has played a game or they read a book, and then it comes into the real life, and that's where they go. And then there's more like themes too that are prevalent where the character is not necessarily a good guy. He's cold, he's calculating, and is willing to use everyone to his advantage. So an anime that might have a similar protagonist is the Classroom of the Elite. It's a very similar vibe. So you kind of see heroes that are more gray, or more of an anti-hero, really. That kind of theme is popping up more, where they're kind of, you see these heroes that are fed up and out for revenge, or just willing to do anything to win. They still do care about their companions, obviously, but they put up a front, and then they're not afraid to manipulate people. Anyways, this one I really like, because it kind of reminds me of Tower of God when it first started, where they're going through, and there are games, basically. It's basically like an MMORPG with quests, and if you fail the quest, you pretty much die. Anyways, there are rules to the quest, and then the main character subverts those rules or finds a way to win by like going a path that you wouldn't expect. It's about outsmarting the game and the rules, and I love stories like that. I really like it. This one is a little bit of an outlier. Academy's undercover professor. So this guy is just a dude who's going around, and he got caught up being a professor for this college by accident, and he has no choice but to play the role for a little bit, and then things are happening around him. And this guy, you know, he's like an ultra powerful magician or mage, and he has multiple identities which are referenced, like Moriarty and all of that. And this one is pretty okay. And here we see the more common kind of isekai theme. Another thing is the main protagonist is usually overpowered. I'm talking like he's super powerful. This one is I'm the max level newbie, or solo leveling max newbie. The title translations can be a little different. But in this one, this guy, he played a VR game that's super difficult, and he was the only one to beat it. And then what happened was, he's like, all right, I'll quit after I beat it. And then turns out the game came into real life, and these, webtoons always have a common theme, that the world that they're climbing in is literally a tower. It's always a tower, almost always like a physical tower in the world that they have to climb. I don't know why I didn't come up with anything else, but yeah, there's a lot of things where they're max level, and they come back, and they're either ultra powerful, or they have knowledge of how to win, and so that's why they're overpowered. So this one's pretty okay. The reason why I don't like this one as much is that it kind of has a similar vibe, where the guy is beating the stages by outsmarting it, but it's kind of like a Deus Ex Machina, where he has the power to combine items together and make ultra powerful ones, and it just seems to make it up as it's going. Like, there's really no setup where it's like, oh, it kind of foreshadows. Like, there's so it doesn't set up rules and then come up with a very clever way to break those rules. It's more like, I have an obstacle, I'm just going to combine some items and overcome it, So it feels cool in the moment, but when you really think about the overall plot progression and character development, it does feel a little bit shallow. This one is very similar as well. The advanced player of the tutorial tower, where this guy, so again, a tower came into the world, and then you have to climb the tower, and after you beat it, you leave, right? Except he couldn't leave, so he kept going through the tower over and over again, to the point where he maxed out his stats. So his stats are super high, so he can just kill things by punching it. And then he comes out, and then there's a huge adventure going through of like, there's like evil people in charge who create the tower, and like he's trying to find them and find out why he was trapped, because he wants revenge. And there's some humorous side notes of where like he was role playing because he got so bored, and then he mistakenly trained disciples who set up huge organizations in the real world for this guy. So yeah, anyways, then we got the dungeon cleaning life of a once genius hunter. This one's a similar theme. He was a really high rank hunter, but also a douchebag. He gets killed. He goes back into the past as a dungeon cleaner. So for this world, dungeons show up, and then people go in, the hunters go in to kill all the monsters, and then the cleaners come in and clean up the dungeon, because the bodies that rot emit hazardous gases. They also litter up the hallways, so the same dungeons show up, and if they don't clean it, the hunters going in are going to have a really rough time. He was mistreating them, and now he's one of them. So he's starting at the bottom, and to unlock the skills that he had, he has to do things that are nice to all the cleaning dungeon cleaners, like increasing their relevancy in social media, all of that. So it's pretty interesting to see. He's also playing the archetype of a very selfish character, where he's trying to play everyone to get all his powers back, but then they misunderstand him as caring about all the cleaners. That's pretty funny whenever I see that. This one's a classic Tower of God. I really liked it in the beginning, but kind of devolved into just people fighting each other instead of how do I outsmart the tower's rules. When it first started, I was super hooked on it. Now it's just like, it's whatever for me. That was just an outlier there. But you're climbing a little tower, a literal tower. We got mythic item obtained. Man, this is a similar kind of vibe where this guy, he gets the Eye of Odin, and that lets him be overpowered essentially. And then he goes back in time. So that in this world, monsters came in, invaded our world. They needed people to fight. They needed to awaken the people. And he chose to be a brawler because back in the day when it first started, the melee fighters were the coolest and mages were looked down upon. And then as time progressed, mages were the most important and brawlers were looked down upon. And he had a magic aptitude of 97, which is really high. And yeah, now he goes back in time with this super powerful item that lets him basically steal spells. I might be mixing up the webtoons because I'm reading so many of them. Got another one called The World's Strongest Troll. I don't know if I could find this on Webtoon. I was reading on it. Is it Kiss Manga? Yeah. And it's funny because this guy is just a straight up troll. And he was playing games. He got to the top. He quit. And then there was a new VR game that he's playing. And then he's just in there trolling people. So similar aspect where like the guy is ultra powerful. It's in a game theme. This one is a little bit more funny because what happens is he unlocked like a secret quest, unlocked a secret class, and his mission was to kill newbies. So he did, and then he has the power to earn points. He has no levels or stats, and then he can put the points into changing the world. So what he did was he took all the points he earned from killing players, and then he strengthened the slimes. And level 1 slimes turned to level 15, and now they're going around killing all these adventurers. So it's kind of like the protagonist, the anti-hero, kind of subverting the gaming themes by making life more difficult for other gamers. Anyway, that's pretty funny. And then this one, it's a romance, locker and opener. I think it's pretty okay though. This guy has the power to lock things, or open things. Sorry, like if you open your mouth, you have to tell the truth, and this person locks things, so she can lock people's memories away and stuff like that. And then they kind of run into each other as enemies, and then they turn into lovers. That's right. I think it's gonna end soon. Anyways, from other ones that I've read, I just pull up on my phone. We got Lessa and Lessa 2. That's like it's an older. The older ones seem to have more superpower themes and elements in it. Noblesse is about a vampire. For horror, Sweet Home and Bastard and Shotgun Boy were pretty great. They kind of intertwine with each other. Sweet Home and Shotgun Boy, especially. Pigpen was okay. It's from the same author. Arma was a superpower themed one. Gosu is a martial art one. Micro Hunter, kind of like the theme where the protagonist, everyone in the world gets transported to a world where they're tiny now. It's the real world, but they're tiny, and they have to go through stages to survive. And then the ending I felt was a little lackluster, but I won't spoil it. Fast Forward was interesting, but the ending was weak. Basically, there are people with superpowers related to watching a video. Basically, you can fast forward, pause, rewind, etc. Okay, Saber's Time was an interesting one. The ending was okay too. I think that's it. Yeah, there's a lot I've been reading. I'm pretty sure I'm leaving out some or mixing up. But yeah, next time maybe I'll make a chart, like show you guys how similar they are. Like which of them have a tower? There's gonna be a lot of them. Which of them have video game themes? There's like most of them. Which of them have a character, a protagonist that's cold, calculating, and overpowered? You know, most of them. Anyways, that's gonna be it. I just wanted to get this off my chest because I've been reading a lot of webtoons. Anyways, that's gonna be it. Thanks as always for watching my crappy content. I'll catch you guys next time.